Well, hello. It is Thursday and Project Love Me TV time. And I am Rachel Harvest of the Harvest Method. And I just want to ask you to sit tight, turn up your ears, and open your hearts because today is going to absolutely light you up. I had a few tears in the past few runs of this recording and from my thoughts as I prepared for this. Because a true fact is that I created the list of topics for Project Love Me TV when I began recording 4 months ago and scheduled them and put those dates out to the end of December. And I add to that list into January and February when a topic in this year project comes to mind or to your conscious mind, I suppose. I say coming to conscious mind because it's always there. Sometimes it's hiding or we're just ignoring it. And all of those lessons are always there, just waiting to be discovered or just seen or heard. And most of the time after they've screamed at you for months or years or decades or even lifetimes. And as I said, I created the topics over 4 months ago, and lo and behold, this topic this week is vitality. And true fact number 2, I choose what I'm going to say the week I record. Seeing this topic is to be today. Well, I've been grateful and honestly humbled by the magic of my recent experience and how vividly and awesomely I can apply it to this week's Share Fest of Love. So here we go. Vitality is defined as a lively and energetic quality, the power or ability of something to continue to live, be successful, etc. The peculiarity distinguishing the living from the non-living, the capacity to live and develop, and also the physical or mental vigor, especially when highly developed. It's a power of enduring and of lively, animated character. You know which definition hits me in my heart? The peculiarity one. It is peculiar. Vital organs, vital signs, the needed parts and indications to validate that you are here and alive. But there's a real difference between being alive and vitality. You can be alive and you can be alive. You can be living your life and you can be living your life. And there is absolutely no ceiling, no stopping point, no boundary to how vital, enduring, resilient, vigorous, and developed you can be. Absolutely none. I had an incident a couple of weeks ago that brought a few of these vital topics to my conscious mind, where they paired with my learnings and practices that make the Harvest Method and Project Love Me so rich. To make a long story short, I was having a wonderful time dancing, a daily thing I do, in a desert, a yearly thing I do, and somebody noticed that I was a dancer, something that happens all the time in my life, and they wanted to dance with me. And that person scooped me up off the ground and then he dropped me by accident. And after thousands of opportunities for this to happen in my training and in my ballet career, and now as an aerialist, for the first time in real time, I landed on my face and I got my first stitches. Now, I really keep it away from and rarely talk about the imprinted lessons I got out of being a dancer. And I realized that day, almost momentarily, why I do that. I got an amazing amount of discipline, grace, strength, tenacity, and resilience from that art form. As is the human way when we aren't loving ourselves, that is, I tend to see most often the stubbornness, obsessive compulsion, perfectionism, rejection, and illness that has haunted me since I took that on as my first career. Those are the dark things, the things that lurk where you can't see. Isn't it a peculiar thing how we pay attention to the dark things over the light? We shine a flashlight into the dark and examine, and we ignore the powerful light needed to see the dark and create the shadows. Honoring that light while we play in the dark, you know what that is? That's healing. That day, I remembered 2 things that I learned in pointe shoes that made me honor the dark and shadows in myself and every one of us all the more. My face got busted, and I remembered To dance is to engage and grow wings. It's to feel and be the music and stretch past limitations. It's to do, then think. It's innate. It's in you. You don't have to plan it out to execute. Your body dances you. And my favorite lesson from the stage: flying is natural. Practice falling. As I continued my career as a dancer, I got more and more closed off by the rejection and injuries and the psychological and physical strain. And I turned skills and attention to detail into perfectionism and compulsion. I turned honoring and paying tribute to my given body by making it art into abusing and punishing my vessel, being reckless and damaging to it, and never letting it be good enough or thin enough or beautiful enough. I was always such a fairy, and flying was really natural. And somewhere along the way, I started tethering. I tethered myself by saying I must be perfect. I must be beautiful. I must never show vulnerability. I must always have control, always have the answers, and always be able to do it for myself. And it took 5 years to heal that mess. And slowly the tethers released. And then 2 years ago, I gave up my story that I was afraid of heights, and I started learning to fly for real. I took up aerial dance, and now I fly freely and, in my partial opinion, more beautifully than I ever jumped or turned. And I do it all the time. And I perform for fun, not because I have to win. And when I look back on all of it, it took the training, the career, the recovery, and the new true flight to achieve mastery in the dancer's highest practice of grace: falling. So I did. I didn't think. I trusted. I wasn't cared for. I got banged up in another's hand, and in a moment, I got up, responded, was grateful, graceful, calm, and resilient, without the grudge. Tether untethered. I used to think I had to be resilient, that life was a test I had to pass. It was all on me. I needed to care for me and about whatever I wanted or needed, because if I didn't, no one would. In an instant, that disappeared, and resilience changed for me. Life isn't a test that you pass or fail. Life is a game. You win some and you lose some. And sometimes you leave a little piece of yourself behind, in somebody else's heart, in an audition where you were passed over, in a bloody pool on a dance floor. You can't fail a game, though. You can only fail a test if you quit and you don't retake it. There's really no reason to get all up in arms and freaked out and white knuckles about having to do something or be someone or make it or whatever crazy things you come up with. Just play. Get that you'll lose sometimes. In the game of life, you get feedback and lessons learned from loss. When you win, and that's cool. And what now? Just keep going. So I lost the game of flying with an amateur partner. Next time, I'll ask if he's union before I leap and accept the invitation to dance. No, I won't. The lessons that followed were rapid fire, as they'll come here too. Vitality, living it, being in it. Present and full throttle means you respond versus react. You hold space and you handle it. I got up and ran for help, calmly asked. Held space for my helpers not to freak out. I covered my eyes, got a tetanus shot, some numbing, and 7 stitches. And I made sure my boyfriend knew, even though he isn't really used to Mad Max Rach yet, he had to know. Honesty, consistent, thorough communication, confrontation, they're all vital actions. I handled it. There were no tears. There was no fear. There was gratitude for my helpers. There was compassion for the man out there thinking he damaged someone. And viral videos reach people. So, to you amateur danseur, keep practicing. Use mats, don't get cocky, and I'll find you next time so we can name this scar. Love and forgiveness to you for sure. And after all that, I drank some electrolytes and went back out to play, to start a new game. I won so much from this incident that transcends my work, my practice, and my project. Each and every lesson had me more vital by the second. I learned that grace isn't just physical. It's a way of being that allows for, yet commands. Trust comes from grace. And fear isn't contagious. Fear is a choice. Choose love and grace, and gracefully decline when fear asks you to lunch. I learned that physical vulnerability breeds connection. I met hundreds, if not thousands, of people in the next week. Why? Well, what happened to your chin? Breaks a lot of ice. I remembered that we connect because we have the same vulnerabilities and fear and insecurities and wounds. True connection isn't wallowing in the defeat of those things. It's in the understanding, the reflection created when we see ourselves in another. I remember that Rumi knows his shit, and that physical and emotional vulnerabilities or wounds, well, like Rumi says, the wound is where the light gets in. Let that light shine on that darkness. Pull out the shadows and let it heal. And finally, I let go of vanity. I love to look pretty. I love to paint the town red, looking unapologetically hot. And I untethered that lingering need to hyper-examine through this experience. It's a million times better than when I was a dancer or when I was sick, but I still was spending way too much time scrutinizing my face, my hair, my wrinkles, and the fact that, badass or not, a 34-year-old body is not that of a 24-year-old ballerina. And I was wasting vital energy on all that crap. A lot of it. I was sitting in my little air mattress in my Hexa-yurt 4 days after the incident, and I had a bandage, temporary tattooed and bejeweled, similar to the one I have on today that says magic. And I sat wiping some dust off my face and combing my hair, and I stopped to stare in the mirror with a bit of distance between myself and what I was reflecting. And I thought, the further out I am, the bigger picture I get, like a bird's eye, taking in the full view. And I cried, and the wound was cool. It has more character, more resilience, and more badass beauty. And I am and always will be beautiful, just like you are and always will be too. Because you're love, and love is beautiful. And when you see it in yourself, what others see from a bird's eye view or from close enough to kiss you is pure and beautiful too. So I grabbed some red lipstick and I slapped it on with love over the big old wound and went out to play the game of seeing it all. The big picture in every experience, interaction, win and loss. And that, my loves, is the lesson I learned to expand my vitality. Vitality for the win. You do and then think. You get the flying is natural and you got to practice falling. That life is a game. Play and keep going. Respond, don't react, hold space and handle it. Grace is a way of being that allows for yet commands. Trust comes from grace. Fear isn't contagious. Fear is a choice. Choose love and grace, and gracefully decline when fear asks you to lunch. Vulnerability breeds connection. Let that light shine on that darkness, pull out the shadows, and let it heal. And I am and always will be beautiful, just like you are and always will be, because you're love, and love is beautiful. And when you see it in yourself, what others see from a bird's eye view or from close enough to kiss you is pure and beautiful too. So take in the big picture. So what's your game? What are you going to pump full of vitality? Want support? Share it below in the comment section of this video. Subscribe to this channel on YouTube and my newsletter at theharvestmethod.com. And contact me on my site to book me as your coach, because I'd love to support you being absolutely vital. And donate. Yep, on YouTube, donate to this channel. I would love nothing more than to get to share and be with y'all all damn day. And your support lets me do that. So until next time, I love you. I did miss you. Burning Man was awesome. And that's the kind of stuff somebody can get out of burning. So how about you share this as the Burning Man review video that you love the most. And I will see you again next week.